Hello there, commanders, and welcome to SUNTZU League Season 3 September Domination Single Faction Tournament. It is going to be a small tournament. I was a little bit worried about this tournament, but at the same time, I didn't have time to worry about it as I'm very busy with my other commitments outside of Total War. And it seems like it is the case for the community at large as well, because I've looked at other tournaments, and the general trend is like just fewer people are participating. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if we tried harder, like much harder, like we usually do, we would easily fill this tournament up. But as I said, this time around, just couldn't. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. It will go back to being fine, as it always does. And we already have a replay. And Archeon also isn't here, so there is that. But given that it is a small tournament, I should be more than able to handle it all by myself. So, let's go. This is semi-final number 2. Falling Star, aka B6A6, versus Anshimo. So this is just a single faction tournament, so all matches are best of ones, even the finals. Players still have a pool of 7 maps, from which they ban 3 each to play out the tournament on the remaining map. So we have Falling Star on Skaven and Anshimo on Wood Elves, a very cultured pick. And so we'll see how that culture translates. There's a very few units in here. It almost feels like as if he didn't spend all the money, because like 1300, 21, like 3000, 4000, like 5, 6000. Okay, yeah, and then if there's everything on Sisters of Twilight, there is no spellcaster. I'm just saying. Hopefully there is one in reinforcements. As for Skaven, we've got Night Runners, short range, crap damage, but quick reload time. Not much ammunition either, just 10. So very quickly run out of ammunition. So we've got those Night Runners, we then have some Skaven Slave Slingers, and a front line of clan rats with spears. Some of them have shields, some of them have spears, some of them have swords. A single shot from Sisters of Twilight instead of double shot. Glade Riders with spears, spotting the Night Runners. And I would say charging them, but no, they just run past them, stop in front of them, and are just getting shot as Sisters of Twilight's miss at large.
Keep it from the foe.
And there's shots from Ashen Sorcerer, actually. So that must have been an ability. Warp Stars, a very cheap one. Quite ineffective against the Eagle, as we've seen. Could be used against Sisters of Twilight as well. Also, why is there no music? This is just sad. But actually, it's just a replay. Hopefully it won't be too loud. Yes, Sisters of Twilight are getting shoved down very, very quickly, down to 75% already, as there's 4 units of Night Runners capable of shooting them, plus 2 of Skaven Slave Slingers. And they're just hovering there, not posing any threat, especially with the single target being used against melee infantry. And there's Deepwood Scouts with a very deep formation indeed, trying to get some shade from that tree for a thematic Wood Elves bonus. Now we see Seas of Twilight charging down into the Ashen Sorcerer, but missing the hit, not dealing any damage. There are also Rat Ogres following closely behind. There's still no music, by the way. We've got another Ashen Sorcerer closing in, going in for entrapment of Seas of Twilight. As they're already very low on HP, they still have that Fate thing, Conjoined Destiny. There we go. So it's not over for them as long as they can get away from there. But just very poor execution, 220 value out of such a powerful unit that we've seen throughout SUNTZU League having like up to even 5,000, I think there was one battle, but usually it goes into thousands, as this is just a very powerful unit. Point number 3, taken for free on the side, Skaven in control of all 3 points, and there's a single unit of Clan Rats just holding back 2 units of Eternal Guard, so not a very effective assignment. Warlord helping out here. A Dragon diving into Spears, now pushing through towards the ranged blob. If only there were more Glade Guards in here, just a spam of very cheap Vanguard deployed units would be very, very effective. But instead, diving with a single entity is just not going to be very effective. Conjoined Destiny is now on cooldown, so they need to be very careful. A one more volley should be able to finish Seas of Twilight here, even if this is from crappy Skaven Slave Slingers. Luckily they take flight and avoid most of the damage, leaving them at 200 HP, but that Forest Dragon is also not having a fun time. Although all the ranges being quite blobbed make them a little bit ineffective at dealing with such a dragon, but now the dragon has turned its back on them and is suffering greatly, having dealt only 59 damage as value. There are 2 more Glade Guard units with Starfire Shafts deployed in the back. Also Glade Riders coming in, plus Eternal Guard. But there's not much more they can go in and rescue, as Skaven have 3,500 advantage. So Softali's got another Conjoined Destiny. But that's actually unlimited use. Okay. So they can still use it again as long as it isn't on cooldown. It doesn't seem like it, maybe. Okay, so we've got 2 units of Eternal Guard, Glade Guard, being kind of prevented from shooting by the Eternal Guard that is blocked over them. Cavalry is going to charge into spears that are defending the point. That usually doesn't go well, but the spears aren't paying attention. But the cavalry is just not powerful enough. It's not Bretonia to plow through a unit of spears like that. Skaven are losing a little bit of footing as the ranged units start running out of ammunition. But it's not like Wood Elves have much gas in their tank either. Point 2 has been captured though. Cavalry now finds a much better target in Night Runners. Although these Night Runners, well, they're not being charged in the first place. That cavalry just stopped there. And we've got Doomflyers coming in to intercept, charging them unbraced from behind, and Night Runners charging them as well for that final rout. This unit has gone quite deep, now being swept by the Wolf Rats and being chased by some Skaven Slave Spears just to keep them occupied. Those are War Dances with Asrai Spears. Despite diving so deep and losing so much HP, they haven't done much damage either. And running down routed Skaven Slave Slingers is not exactly it. And we've got Glade Guard here in melee. Not necessarily what we've been looking for. Let's see how the Seas of Twilight are doing. Just a little bit better. Ashen Sorcerer has been tail routed, but there's another one firing off those warp stars. and dealing some decent damage. Forest Dragon. It used one of the breaths. Could line up another one. This is a very big blob, and there it goes. Into Wolf Rats. But that's just about it. Seas of Twilight are still using the singular shot instead of the scatter shot, which would be much more effective. Plus we've got Warplock Jezzails summoned in. Oh, never mind. They're already being unsummoned because they already ran out of ammunition. Dealing 1500 damage, probably to the dragons. This is of Twilight and the regular dragon. Also got a Glade Captain on a horse. Potion of Strength and Deadly Onslaught. Well, that means it would be pretty good at taking out single entities. Maybe even those Doomflyers. We'll see what it's up to. It's up to running away. Not so sure about that, but either way. Battle is almost over as Falling Star controls all 3 points and is only 2 minutes away from victory. With, well, having sealed his victory pretty convincingly. Maybe you'll see another Breath of the Dragon, although it could be still on cooldown, but there's a very good blob of 3 units over here that it could brief on. Just needs to be wary of the ranged units. And more Warp Stars are landing into Seas of Twilight. Conjoined Destiny is going off once again. So if Seas of Twilight don't die within the next 10 seconds, they will be able to heal their last 25% of HP. Diving into the Ancient Sorcerer, but seemingly he didn't take any damage. And there we go. Seas of Twilight are back at 2.5, so using all of their available HP. That's pretty nice. They also almost ran out of ammunition. But despite that, there's still only 1200 value. And I'm not sure about summoning Deepwood Scouts in such a situation when there's lots of cavalry and other fast units flying around. Instead, melee infantry would be better, as Dryads, for example, or maybe just the regular Eternal Guard. The Glade Captain, meanwhile, engaged in clearing some Clanard Spears, so not the most efficient use of that unit. This is the Twilight land, seemingly attacking the Rat Ogres. Oh, that Rat Ogre failed it, taking 2 blasts in the face. And there's another Warp Star cast. This of Twilight taking like 700 HP or something, more or less. So a Brave being lined up. The Nightrunners try to run away, as their name implies. But with that, we are just 5 seconds away from victory. Just one final breath of the Seas of Twilight Dragon. Forgot its name. Carb something. I don't know. So a pretty one-sided battle, which we'll see B6A6, aka Falling Star, moving into the finals, and then Shimo dropping into the 3rd place match. And let's see if I have another replay. Yes, I do. Without any spoilers, without knowing who won, I'm not looking, la la la. Saving it. And going straight into it. And it is a mirror match. High Elves versus High Elves. Something broke here. Maybe Solisaur is Russian. I think that happens when there's like a different alphabet. We've got 2 very different styles. One thing that immediately pops out is that once again, one of the players didn't bring a spellcaster. And it pains me twice as much as usual, because it is a SUNTZU member. Again. Look, I didn't tell them to bring spellcasters. So there is that. Once again, hopefully the spellcaster is in reinforcements, please. Please have a caster in reinforcements. Anyway, so we've got an Archmage of Shadows on a dragon, obviously, with Melkoth Mystifying Miasma and Penumbral Pendulum. And we've got Eltharion on his Griffin.
Keep it from the...
Or whatever that is. Some early exchanges between Sisters of Twilight Regiment of Renown and a little Niver Archers. So advantage to Saturas early on. There's Melkoth Mystifying Miasma. It's not going to deal, like, kill any soldiers. And Eltharion 1v1ing the Archmage, that's pretty brave. If Software could get a better angle so that they don't hit Eltharion, but look at that accuracy. That is very, very good. There's Arcane Unforging going on as well. So a spellcaster is there. Oh wait, Eltharion is a spellcaster, I'm stupid. Okay, Saturas, sorry. Well, that is pretty good exchange. That Lord is already down to like 40-35% HP already. Eltharion just needs to be careful. He doesn't have his own healing. Nope. He is fully kitted out. There's also artillery firing. Getting some nice value already. There needs to be careful of the Heralds of the Wind who could just disengage from here and charge straight ahead into that unit. Warlions of Trace are getting wrecked on the flank by Illyrian Reavers. Although after wrecking Illyrian Reaver Archers themselves earlier on. But all 3 points are going to be captured by Solisora first. Artillery is focusing routing units, so maybe switching there would be a good idea. Sisters of Avalon have taken quite a beating, but there's still plenty of them alive, so as long as they just get out of the range of these archers and maybe start returning fire. The Penumbral Pendulum misses completely, just barely touches the Silvern Guard. Artillery keeps firing, and that unit just returned from routing and is back at it again. But there we go, there's the Elite Archers into the artillery. Rangers are going to save the artillery piece, so it will be fine. And on this flank we've got Shadow Walkers and Archers, the regular ones, versus some Spearmen on Silvern Guard front line. So Satura is going very, very much elite. And value in the field, so far, mostly equal. That being said, Solisora has 1,000 more value in reinforcements, which he's bringing right now. 2 units of Rangers closing in on point number 1. There's still no music. CA Bliss fix. Might just turn up Winamp. Eltharion chasing down the Archmage. There are archers in vicinity though to pummel Eltharion if he's not careful. He's not dodging, he's just beelining after the Archmage. He should be out of the range soon, plus there's forest covering him a little bit now. The Archmage is turning around to keep Eltharion within the range of her archers. So that is a pretty good move. The front line so far, there's a little bit of too over-reliance on elite units. So if you have elite units, you don't have a wide front line. If you don't have a wide front line, gaps are going to open and your rangers are going to be exposed. Likely there's only 1 unit of rangers here and 2 units of archers, so they can deal with that, but it is dangerous, let's say. Illyrian Reavers should break their morale. There we go. That is exactly what happens. Saturas should turn around and start shooting something else, which is exactly what he's doing. That's pretty well done. He just needs to be considerate of the capture points, as Solisora is already 1/3 of the way there. Still nothing major, but it can very quickly spiral out of control. This flank, well, the archers are collapsing, but the melee units are still going strong. Silvern Guard are actually doing really, really well, but there are the gaps that I've been talking about. The Reaver straight through a gap and into Shadow Walkers. the other Illyrian Reavers from Saturas will turn around and get a recharge, sort of. The charge is somewhat answered, but that unit of archers is going to be a little bit in trouble. But that being said, their melee stats are still pretty good. Shadow Walkers are nothing to scoff at, so they should do well against the Illyrian Reavers, lowering their stats with poison damage. And we've got Lothar and Seaguard as well, so they will also be more or less fine if charged, but best is if they just don't get charged at all in the first place. And there's another unit of Silver Helms this time around going into the regular unit of archers. Scenario can just repeat. The Illyrian Reavers can come in and help. Shadow Walkers could help in as well by either going into melee or shooting a little bit as well. The Rangers are going to intercept the Spearmen, but just the pressure that Solisora keeps exuding onto the battlefield keeps Saturas well away. There's Mistwalker Barrage, looks very cool with the new upgraded looks, but also misses. So, due to the animation being longer, it's not very effective against moving targets. However, there's Fiery Convocation, one of the coolest spells in the game. Sadly, it has been misaligned and barely touched only one unit of archers, whereas the other two that were just right next to it could have been wiped out as well. So that is quite a poor use of 15 Winds of Magic, maybe more if it was overcast. And well, Mistwalker Barrage is helping against the Illyrian Reavers. Solisora's units aren't holding that strong, but in terms of value it is very much equal, but in terms of capture points it is not. Solisora is almost 1,000, just 3 minutes away from victory. The Illyrian Reavers are now making a mistake of charging a unit of Rangers and being backcharged immediately after by Silver Helms, getting themselves into a sandwich. So best case for Saturas now would be to just spam cheap units, get some capture weight onto the battlefield and onto those capture points. This is absolutely crucial now. He's doing that with the Rangers, starting to capture point number 1, but there is a unit of Spearmen coming back. Swords Master of Hoeth. Okay, once they get on top of the point, which they did just now, they can start clearing out enemy units. But it will still take them quite a while to clear the enemy units, whereas just plowing more units on top of the point is much more effective in terms of bringing the capture weight directly onto the field. Point number 3 is entirely open. A quick unit of cavalry could go over there and capture. There's still 2 minutes left, but if Saturas doesn't get more units, just cheap units that have effective capture weight, he's not going to do well. That Eagle Claw is sadly disabled, could just be unsummoned, but not for much money anyway. The firing going strong after taking out the enemy general, which I have missed, and bringing some really good value. If only he had managed to get some better casts. I don't think there's a time for unsummoning units, even if it's just a Silver Guard, but there we go, it's rather, unless it was a different unit. I think it was a different unit. But yeah, neither point number 1 nor point number 2 is flipping. There's just way too many just cheap but very effective units from the side of Solisora, and Saturas can't just punch through. So even though he is fighting valiantly in terms of the value, he's just failing on the strategic level of not being able to capture any points. You will need a much better advantage, much higher advantage in terms of value to start translating that into capture points in the battlefield. Fireborn just missed an opportunity to charge Lothar and Seaguard. I mean, yes, spears, but also archers. They're going after Warlands of Strays, going to intercept them. Should be able to easily obliterate them, which they are doing. Yep, that HP bar is just melting straight in front of our eyes, just in front of, just before the victory is sealed. And also capture weight is coming through of point number 2, but it is a little too late. Same with point number 3. Just regular archers. Well, they wouldn't be able to capture and stand here for long anyway.
Unending
But that is over.
glory is
Saturas
yours.
has lost, and Solisora is moving into semi-final number 1. And because of semi-final number 1, well, we've already seen semi-final number 2. So we're only going to see it after it actually concludes. So we might have a little bit of a break as we wait for another replay. Have they not even started? Really? Do I need to hand guide them that they're fighting here? Like, hello? Look at the bracket. There's also guidance points, as in if you win, you move to this match. If you lose, you move to this match. I am disappointed. Could have done better. That's where Arcleon is useful, because while I'm watching and commenting the replay, he can tell them. I can't. But well. I'd actually watch a replay live, a match live. Hello, there's others in the chat. Have you enjoyed watching your battle? I would have certainly enjoyed it more if there was music, but the game's broken. There we go, there's music. I should probably just play High Elves and Wood Elves music. I have some High Elves music, but like my play is just not prepared for this. As I have changed into just using the in-game music, but for some reason it doesn't work. Well, maybe if I restart the game. I can also update the bracket. I've got ahead of you, what? There we go. It's updated. Now if I want to watch it live, I will need to disable the UI mode. Okay, let's see. Do I have music? Can't hear it. Wait, what the fuck? Did I not hit apply changes or something? Damn. I'm so good at this computer thing. Wow. Never mind, we have music now. Thank you, Silverest, for giving me a good choice. Yeah, I just got the DLC. So while waiting for the tournament to start, I was like, might as well check it out. Alright. And which one would it be? Probably this. There is a spectator slot, right? Friends also. Well, I have one friend there, that must be it, but there's no spectator slot. Some real players. You might want to watch a different tournament then. Damn, that music is a little bit too loud for my liking. But I can always just lower it down by lowering the overall volume on my headset, it will be fine. So if you could tell me in the chat, how does it mix for you? If it's too loud compared to my voice, or if it's just right, or maybe too quiet. Well, if it's too quiet, I can reboost it. It's already at 100%. Well, actually, it isn't. It's on my system that's at 50% as well. Yep. Okay, I see a spectator slot open. Let's go. Password. Probably 1, 2, 3. No! Okay, is this the cultured password? It is the cultured password. Okay, Michael just got a ton of points for using the cultured classic password. Let's go. You didn't see that. Stupid game. Okay, go. Press ready. Nobody saw that. Blah, blah. I'm saying that as well on the stream live as well. I get banned for my classic password. Okay, well, I imagine what it could be, but I'm not gonna say it, so. I love the music. I mean, the music got quite quieter now on its own, I don't know. Oh no, it didn't get quieter. Yeah, I lowered the volume on my headset. That explains it. Well, in the main menu, it's the same track over and over again. We'll see how it goes in battle. Like, looking at OBS, my voice gets quite a lot of more decibels than the music, but still. The decibels are not be and end all. Did I decide on the map? They do. They have decided on map number 3, which in their case is Glade of the Everqueen. It's a perfect map for High Elves versus Wood Elves, if I may say so myself. Bonus points for bringing Alariel. Oh, Michael is ready. We already see one battle out of Solisora. Michael, you could have been watching, getting an idea of what to expect out of his opponent. You know, Wood Elves and High Elves, being elves, have quite similar playstyles, yet there are differences. I would say High Elves, their focus is much more on some of their higher quality units. So usually they want to bring obviously a mix of cheap units, like just the regular spearmen and some archers, and some Illyrian Reavers. But then they bring either a powerful lord and a dragon. Imric is very popular, and then accompanied by a spellcaster of life, or just an archmage of life, or shadows, as we've seen in this case. Then there's also stuff like Phoenix Guard, Swordmasters of Hoeth, that sometimes people bring make 1 or 2 units of these. They can bring the regular dragons. Dragonborn, the dragon princes, are quite popular. Oh, and there we go. Though I'm personally not that big of a fan of that unit. I don't think it's very much cost effective. Well, we'll see. So we've got Scissors of Twilight accompanied by a Spellcaster of Shadows. Then lots of Eternal Guard, 4 with shields, 2 without shields. Just a single unit of Glade Guard and 2 Glade Riders. There we go, that's what they're called. As for the High Elves, you see quite a lot of archers with light armor. One of those is a Regiment of Renown, and there's another one, just regular archers. We've got some 2 units of Horse Archers as well. 5 units of Spearmen. Given that all these units are pretty cheap, how much Deckless is on his Phoenix, which would be pretty high. Deckless is a very, very powerful lord, and has, if I remember correctly, bound Fiery Convocation. Maybe that's what this spell is called. Ooh, I can draw. Maybe once they load. It's so bizarre seeing this. After I've been watching replays for so many months already. Maybe even a year. I don't remember when we exactly switched to the replay system. But it is definitely superior, but in cases such as these, when this is literally the only battle going on and we're waiting for more. After that, we can wait, as third place match and finals will be happening simultaneously, pretty much. And then just watch the 2 replays of both. Okay, so we got Scissors of Twilight. Let's see what I have. Not having the UI mod is very, very painful. Eating har. That was like car something. I remember the first letter. But there's no Conjoined Destiny? He didn't bring it? Well, that is quite a blunder, unless I'm blind and I don't see it. But the Conjoined Destiny is what makes Scissors of Twilight OP. I mean, there's also Scattershot. Talon of Dawn, Talon of Dusk. Yes, Talon of Dusk is another thing that makes them quite powerful. Well, Talon of Dawn is very good against single entities as well. But well, let's have a look at the High Elven army. Let's have a look at Teclis. So Teclis is not on a Phoenix, he's just on a regular horse. He has the bound Fiery Convocation, Sword of Teclis. Then he has Flock of Doom, Net of Amentok. Well, Net of Amentok can help in landing the Fiery Convocation. But that's about it. Well, I won't be able to see how much it costs. Costs quite low, actually. Little archers with an early point grab. Michael's just camping. Oh, there we go, he woke up. But those Glade Riders, I mean, yeah, charging into these guys would just kite away, so... Well, he could have gotten a point. He would have lost in value, so I would say it's pretty wise not engaging just yet. And he has only 2 units, Deepwood Scouts and Glade Guard with poison arrows.
We have a victory
And,
point. Keep it from the
Swift
foe.
Shiver Shards as well, so more damage but less range. In this case, I would rather just bring the regular ones with regular range. I've got Flock of Doom upgraded, early cast. It was an overcast, which hit Teclis back, so he lost a bit of his HP, 10%, more or less. little bit more. There we go, archers are opening fire, so Michael absolutely just needs to rush, because otherwise this damage has been taken for free, and I'm not necessarily liking how split up he is, and I'm once again not liking the Talon of Dusk, or Talon of Dawn. Stop using that, use Talon of Dusk. Oh, here's the cavalry going on a flank, trying to find gaps. There is one gap right here, could use it, but no. Going into the forest, going to be intercepted by silver helms, most likely. But at least that turns the attention of archers away. Here comes, what is it? The number pendulum, there it is, but it missed. Yikes. The cavalry became stationary inside the forest, gets charged by a different unit of cavalry, 2 of them now. Illyrian Reavers, there's also some Silverin Guard. Well, that Blade Guard is absolutely wrecked. We can forget about it. But it drew away quite a lot of forces, leaving more openings here. Finally, oh wait, what is that? Oh, that's Boundfire Convocation. And this time it was a very effective. There we go, that was very, very nice cast. Oh, Michael is getting wrecked. They're getting blocked 3 units on top of 1 in such a deep formation, instead of, you know, going around and flanking. I can draw like that, you know, and maybe threatening the archers or helping your cavalry, maybe intercept the cavalry over here. Damn, this drawing tool is so OP. Oh, it's so good. There we go, archers now firing over here in the dryads. Dryads have taken out the spearmen, so they can now threaten and push away the archers at the very, very least. One of them has fire arrows. Another Penumbra Pendulum cutting across or riding Illyrian River archers, not necessarily the most effective. Maybe over here, or over here, or here. Plenty of good targets, maybe even here as well, but maybe out of range. But I have 3 units of spearmen defeated by a single unit of spearmen, and obviously with some magic help. Also, this spellcaster is very vulnerable, and it is on a horse, on a unicorn maybe. Or it is a unicorn. So at least she can escape, but it's not looking very good for Michael. The battle is still far from over. The points are roughly equal. The values not necessarily. Good thing is, Sisters of Twilight are doing pretty well. 750 in terms of gold value, but being stationary in front of 4 units of archers, 3 of them shooting them, is definitely not a good idea. At least we're seeing the correct ammunition type. Probably from a better angle it would have been a little bit better. But you definitely don't want... Yes, finally. Them to be stationary. That Penumbra Pendulum definitely didn't go the way it should have. It should have gone like this, not like this. So yeah, both players making misplays in terms of aiming their spells. But Soisora's mistake was in the previous battle, not in this one. In this one, that Fiery Convocation, one of the best casts we have seen in quite some time, cutting across 4 units. But again, Michael was kind of asking for it. Then again, we've got plenty of players asking for being cast powerful spells on top of them, and that doesn't always come to fruition. So points for spotting that and going for that when available. A late Glade Guard cast, Salmon, or Glade Rider cast. So there we go, there's another Fiery Convocation. Such a long range spell, reaching to Deepwood Scouts as well, deep into the woods as well. Haha. Yes, of Twilights, they can still heal quite a lot of their HP, so I wouldn't worry too much about them. But when an army full of archers gets the overall advantage, it is very easy for them to keep staying ahead. That was a very nice volley from Sisters of Twilight, from such a long range as well. So in general, from further you shoot, the more these volleys are getting spread out. Well, not when you shoot into a forest, obviously. Although it gives quite a spectacular showcase of how trees are blocking various projectiles. But in general, with Seas of Twilight, you want to aim at units that are at the edge of your range, so to get maximum spread. And a single good volley from that can really, really hurt a unit. Not necessarily effective against cavalry that's moving and actively dodging, but it is still some progress. There's a Flock of Doom going on with internal guards, chipping away their HP, and just putting Solisora further and further ahead. Let's have a look at tech list. 2300 value versus... Where are they shooting? Wow, that is unfortunate. Yeah, versus only 900 and a half Forces of Twilight. Not very good. Oh, there we go. That was much better. Much better volley onto the spearman. Just need to be careful not to friendly fire your own units here, as once again 2 units are blobbed up on top of one another. Why not make some flanking maneuvers or put some pressure? Solisora is just entirely in control of the battlefield. Michael has apparently 11 units on the battlefield, but most of them are routed. So in terms of not routed units, I wouldn't count this one. So there's 1 unit of Dryads, this also doesn't count, and there's 1 unit of Archers who are getting charged by cavalry. And then that's basically it, and then it's the core of Archers. So anything Michael summons immediately gets focused by 5-6 units of Archers. Yeah, it's not gonna survive very much, very long. And then you can't really get to those Archers because it will be just intercepted by the cavalry or the infantry. There. When an Archer composition gets ahead, as I said, it doesn't let go of that advantage very easily. The trick is not to allow for it to get ahead, and it is very difficult to get an Archer composition ahead. Well, difficult. The player who doesn't have the Archer advantage just needs to YOLO mid-rush, which is of medium difficulty of execution, but it's not easy, let's say. Well, Seas of Twilight running out of ammunition. Well, I think slightly better volleys now. But there's Flock of Doom on top of Dryads just to seal the deal, just to further rub it in. Can't really see the available Winds of Magic, so can't tell if that Spellslinger of Shadows could still do something. Could definitely use this. This gives 3 Winds of Magic. Oh, never mind. This is the battlefield. Once again, see Deepwood Scouts with shifts over shards, but yeah, it's 1 versus 7. That's a 6. There's some Force Archers over here. Yep, and they're done. I mean, to be honest, like Michael, you know, you can just press escape and give up. Although he is getting experience. That's important. So I would never make fun of somebody who doesn't surrender. Spartans never did, after all. Again, retreating is not necessarily the best of ideas either, as the point of some hot pursuit going out there. As the goal of the game mode is to control these points in the middle, so running away, yeah, doesn't work. Then again, nothing would, so there we go.
You have been bested. There is only defeat.
I'm gonna save the replay. At the end, just barely above 1,000 value on Scissor Twilight. The spellcaster only 300 compared to Teclis. Well, Teclis didn't do that value in melee, I can tell you that. So yeah, that's 2,600 value just from spellcasts. So big props for using Teclis and using him in the correct way. The bound fiery convocations were absolutely amazing. As I said, one of the best spells in the game and coolest looking at the same time. What's more to ask? Well, that spells like Burning Head is still the goat. But a fiery convocation range is something else as well. Okay, well. So now we're moving into the finals. Why didn't this work? Hello? Is the formula is wrong? There we go, I fixed it. Well, so I guess now we wait for the replays, or we can watch it live. So we have Wood Elves mirror matchup in third place match and High Elves versus Skaven in the finals. You might watch the third place match live and the final for a replay. We have it saved for last as the last battle. I think that would be nice. I might host it for them. Must wins again? Well, it is meta. when you bring elite units, they are primary targets for spells. So let's take that Fiery Convocation as an example. It can remove any unit it touches. So you'd rather prefer it touches a 500 worth unit than a 1000 worth unit. So yeah, there is that. Plus, if you bring more units, you get to plug in more gaps. And if your opponent doesn't, you get to exploit the gaps he has created. If you're fighting for a point, which you usually do, it is faster to bring cheaper units than to bring one elite unit that would, maybe win in a 1v2, but it takes time to win in a 1v2. And the time that elite unit is winning that fight, the two cheaper units might have already captured the point for the advantage of capture weight. But even if the capture weight was changed so that elite units are worth more, then you still have the issue of spells and other abilities like dragon breaths and stuff like that. Artillery also, to some extent regular ranged units. Like let's say an enemy has in terms of high elves, an eagle bolt, bow, thrower or something. And you're playing, well, let's say wood elves, right? So you would rather their only available targets are crappy 500 to 600 units, like Glade Guards and Dryads, and maybe some archers, than if they were able to shoot what I call Blade Singers, Deepwood Rangers. They'll deal roughly the same damage to either target, but in one case, each shot is worth, let's say, 50 gold, and in the other is worth 100 gold. So yeah, elite units just don't make much sense, sadly. It's balancing issue that CA just fails to address, or maybe doesn't want to address for a very long time. But those elite units are just not as cost effective as the cheap units. Even if you take out the domination game mode, spamming cheap units is still the way to go. So the only way to make more expensive units more viable is to increase the funds to such a way that if you just spam 20 cheap units, you just don't use all the funds. So then bringing some more elite units would make more sense. Well, overall, I'm so glad that we got to see 3 SUNTZU members in this tournament. And now we're going to watch one of them win. There we go. A victory for SUNTZU guaranteed. And also podium for SUNTZU guaranteed, because there are only 2 non-SUNTZU participants who are both in the grand final. But it would be rude to win at your own game, right? So, we've got to show that hospitality. of welcoming other people in and just letting them win. That's exactly what happened. It wasn't skill issue, it was just being nice. You know what skill issue is though? Is not having the SUNTZU tag in your Steam name. That's a skill issue. So you've seen both of these players play already. And on Woodels as well. Both of them brought Sisters of Twilight. One of them didn't bring a spellcaster. So hopefully that will change now. And maybe some lessons will be learned. And just more and cheaper units will be brought. I mean, Michael, to be fair, brought a fair amount of cheap units. He should also bring Conjoined Destiny on Sisters of Twilight if he's listening. Okay. Because that was also a blunder, not bringing that super powerful ability. It's easily one of the most cost-effective abilities in the game, I think. Because as long as you don't get bursted out of the sky, that is a free 75% HP more. And obviously there are lords with passive regeneration. So that is also like free 75%, but usually that regeneration is slow. So you can burst them out, whereas Sisters of Twilight, they have that 30-second window before it activates, but it's still fairly difficult to take them down within those 30 seconds because it activates early enough. So as long as you are careful, you easily get the 75% HP healed guaranteed. Oh yeah, I'm the host, I need to set them up. The map is J2. Okay. And I was also having Conquest for some reason. I am an idiot. But I also really like Wood Elves. Easily one of my favorite factions in terms of battles. The campaign, not so much. I don't like the fact that they don't like properly conquer the territory. Well, they conquer them, but it's like always level 1 settlements, everything. Apart from their special trees. But I'm also aware that they are super OP in terms of campaign. It's just the gameplay and the way they are OP is not necessarily the most fun. So. But maybe I'll give them a chance. Play a little bit in my free time. Now I'm playing Dwarfs, Malachi, as you've seen. But I just started, I literally played like 5 turns, I think, just before the tournament started. But yeah, in terms of battle, Wood Elves have a very nice versatile roster. They have good, cheap infantry. Their elite options are also quite nice, but then again, elite just isn't meta, so who cares? They've got good ranged units that are sometimes useful. So when you want good ranged units, you can have them. But you can also just play Wood Elves without bringing any ranged units at all, and you're absolutely fine. They have good cheap cavalry. Their more expensive cavalry is kind of garbage though, so they're losing some points for that, let's say. As for access to magic, they don't have Lore of Fire, so that's a little bit of a downer, but they have Lore of Life, which is easily the second best. Some would argue it's better than Lore of Fire as well. And I can see that this Burning Heads looks super cool. I like dealing damage. But yeah, Lore of Life can actually do both damage and heal at the same time, so there we go. And as for the monsters, Tricking, good. Monstrous infantry. Just has weakness to fire, but well, whatever. They have Zoats, who are pretty cool. There's also Citizens of Thorn, who are cool. It's just not very effective. Although that magic, the damage reflection, in certain situations will be pretty decent. But they're just too expensive. I think they're 1400. There's no way that's worth it. And this is also the first time, well, not the first time, the second time, but like in this tournament, it is the first time that we're seeing mirror matches in SUNTZU League, because our usual formats don't allow mirror matches. But here, despite there being only 5 players, we've had 2 High Elves and 2 Wood Elves. So Wood Elves didn't have to meet each other. High Elves was, well, in the first round, so they kind of had to, due to their seeding. And I was hoping this could have been the final, but no. And Shima didn't bring a spellcaster. But I don't think that would have saved him. That again, I think is just another argument to invite more people into SUNTZU League, to not be afraid of participating in our tournaments, because our format is very similar to Swiss. It is essentially Swiss. So it self-levels pretty quickly. So while you might be crashed in the first round or 2 rounds, by round 3 or 4, you should be facing opponents your level. then they're getting their sweet time, readying up. Thinking very hard about their armies, and Simo is like, should I pick a spellcaster or not? He even bought a Glade Captain. And the spellcaster is like right next to it. Maybe just bring Durfur. There we go, the Lord and the spellcaster in one. Durfur is pretty good as well. Actually, one thing that Wood Elves lack is like a good single entity monster with Mortis Engine effect. They used to be very rare, but now like, every DLC has. Oh, there we go, Anshima's ready. Ooh. Oh, Michael. I probably also need to press ready, so. Or was I ready? This button doesn't work properly. There we go, let's go! Okay, so it's Sisters of Twilight versus Sisters of Twilight. Very nice. Which one is which? The right one is Ansimo. Likely they brought different coat of arms, so we'll be able to tell them apart. So Anshimo brought 5 Deepwood Scouts. Can't really tell if they're the Shift Silver Shards or not. And then 3 Glade Guards. No, not Glade Guards. Glade Riders. And 2 Dryads. It's almost the reverse for Michael. Well, Anshimo didn't bring a spellcaster. So let's point that out first. If he doesn't have a spellcaster, again, if it isn't in reinforcements, I mean, it makes sense to bring a spellcaster in reinforcements, it's fine. What doesn't make sense is not bringing a spellcaster. Alright, that's a very weird deployment zone with deployment way. Maybe some bug with the map. So Deepwood Scouts, 5 units already. I mean, that's kind of spoilers. Hopefully they are. This entire army is Vanguard deployed. Wow. Okay, that's spicy. He's cooking. He's cooking. Anshimo is absolutely cooking. Already positioning himself 12.3 and 1. I'm gonna capture like the first second of the battle, I guess. But he kind of missed both. So he might want to readjust his positioning. This is pretty spicy. This is cooking as well. Speaking of cooking, this unit would be very cooked once it's spotted. I feel like I shouldn't be like looking at it. Oh wait. How can I hide it? Ooh. So this is sad. So when I was looking for a hotkey to disable the minimap, I muted my microphone with that hotkey. And then disabled the minimap anyway. And I also stopped recording, which is not much of an issue. Luckily I didn't stop streaming. You can just imagine my epic commentary, and I'm very sad that you've missed it. I have just realized that as I have looked over to OBS on my second screen.
There is only defeat.
Congratulations to Anshimo and taking third place. Yeah, I know what they're saying. Nice, 2,500. Come on, Michaels. Citizens of Twilight. Yeah, I was like praising his target selection and stuff. And using the single shots correctly this time around, and then switching to scatter shots later on. Yeah, used his supplies pretty well, but Anshimo played the strategic game of capturing the points better, which, I mean, I was really satisfied with my commentary of this battle. I think it was a really good commentary. I can always watch a replay and just cast again. So maybe that's what I would do after the tournament, flying. We could have selected this. I'm not used to hosting because I always watch for replays. So I forgot to check that. I don't know why it was unchecked in the first place. Should have checked that. Well, it's not like they load the character anyway. Could even allow multiple lords. Well, this battle was all over the place anyway. We've seen Malevolent Dryads. Don't know if you've noticed. I mean, I did. Yeah. Which I was saying during the cast, but like, whatever. Malevolent Dryads should be allowed anyway. Well, GG's to both players. Let me see if we have a replay from the final. Yes, we do. Are we done? But the final is still underway. I'm gonna upload the replay in case they don't. And now we're waiting for the grand final replay. They have started 11 minutes ago. If they started when they said ready and good luck, have fun. I assume they did. Haven versus High Elves. I feel like that matchup is Skaven in favor. Like, we didn't see Skaven in our matches for a very, very long time. And I don't think they were, like, changed almost at all. But suddenly, Tim the Wilder started using them. And won. Quite convincingly at that against Serica. Yeah. Speaking of which, Anshiba won without a spellcaster. No, wait. There is a spellcaster. I don't think he ever brought it, though. Also, why does it cost 1500? Does it have all the spells? I can't control the army. Can I join in as a player? I would need to leave. Give me a lobby. I am a player now. Yep. That's probably what he brought. All the spells. Okay, so like we are really back down to the basics, which is just build your army. Like once you know what army to bring, then you can learn other stuff. Start by selecting the correct army. Oh, and I did have like a build for every single faction, but that was a year ago. Over a year ago, and several patches ago. Oh, there we go. We got the replay. I'm downloading it. Let's go. So a little bit different builds this time around from what I can see, but let's analyze them once inside the battle. So we have Ikit Claw. That's a very standard pick, unlike the Warlord we saw earlier. He's just very powerful on his Doom Wheel. Then we've got Skaven Slaves. Hey. I don't have the UI mod. We might watch it without it, whatever. Also, it's Tsar's Cursed Oasis, which is a very base map. Oh, Night Runners immediately spotted by Heralds of the Wind. That's like a free kill immediately. That's pretty good start for Solisora. Same here on the other flank. They can easily run them down without getting in trouble from other units. That's exactly what's happening. I mean, they're firing back and dealing some decent damage. Wolfrat summoned on the other flank, trying to help, which they will, and that should do. And the Night Runners are saved. The Night Runners have 70 range versus 140 of the Illyrian Reaver Archers. So they can easily just outrange them and hit them that way. But over here, Heralds of the Wind, 105 speed, easily run them down, so that's a free kill over here. Just have to be careful not to run into spears. It's fine, there's Skaven Slave spears, but you should still pull out. The Riders here, already out of half of ammunition. They have very low ammunition, but very quickly spend it. So they are pretty good in Domination, because they can shoot their volleys and they just quickly be unsummoned and be very cost effective that way, as they get half the cost back. As long as they don't get charged like they just did by the Fireborn, the Dragon Princess. We also have a Wizard or Archmage of Life this time around, with Regrowth and Earthblood, so no damaging spells, but 2 healing spells. Well, Earthblood will be cast over here to heal, well, the dragon is full HP, but to heal the Dragonborn. Fireborn, sorry. Wrong game. It's in Skyrim. Some exposed archers over here. Skaven slaves are just going to punch through and get to them together with some clan rats. Spearmen failing to prevent them from reaching them. The dragon could help with some terror routing, but it's turning around and going elsewhere. Maybe going after Ikit, who is now in the mix against the Fireborn. Fireborn, maybe we'll be able to do some. Clan Spears are there though, together with Night Runners. Some Rat Ogres are closing in as well. They're gonna get charged by the Fireborn. A decent charge, but then again it is still just Monsters Infantry. Or just Monsters, it is Monsters Infantry. Now the damage after the charge is coming through, and it is much nicer. You're gonna flank a bunch of cavalry, engage with some Rat Ogres and Skaven Slave Spears. So those spears are getting nice value by Solisora just throwing big units at them all the time. Here on the flank, we see 11 Reavers chasing some Night Runners, but point number 1 is firmly in control of Skaven. Point number 2 is being fought over, but also in control of Skaven, just as is point number 3. So, all points controlled by Falling Star, but the battle is very far from over, although these 11 Reavers just got absolutely wrecked by Rat Ogres. The Fireborn can pull that off. The 11 Reavers definitely can't. And Fireborn, they're not picking like the best matchups for them. Although Wolf Rats did get wrecked, but they also constantly run into spears and Night Runners fire. So if they can only outmaneuver them, I don't have Desolation anymore. I have when I'm live viewing, but not in the replays. I think there is a mod for that though. That spell definitely missed. And that Cavalry Sandwich is somewhat working. So Illyrian Reavers and Illyrian Reavers. There we go, the Skaven Slave Spears are routed, which will allow them to be cut down easily. And then Rat Ogres should follow. So we've got 2 Chieftains this time around, fighting the Dragons. So this is pretty much what Chieftains want to do. They have armor piercing, high single target damage. But so does the Dragon, and it also has access to healing, but that is as good as a matchup can get for the Chieftains, pretty much. And despite that, they haven't done too well. So that's some hope for Solisora, who has now captured point number 2, roughly a minute ago. Points number 1 and 3 still in control of Skaven. Point number 3 should fall. There's a unit of Fresh Rangers summoned over here. Some units of cavalry could also come back and support them or be unsummoned, and something else to be brought. Ikit also isn't doing too well. Fireborn are still at it. Now, 2000 is a decent value on them, so they are bringing huge value and then some. Punching through. The Dragon got a little bit too busy with the Clown with Spears, but the Fireborn are not letting Ikit go. Still firing off his Doom Wheel. There we go, now he's stopped. The Dragon is now a little bit engaged by the Chieftain. Intercepted, let's say. Oh, there's gonna be heal. Is it regrowth? It is regrowth. 18 soldiers. Well, let me bring them back to like 1/3 because that's what they have. So all these Fireborn should be at max HP. Just charging through Skaven Slaves as if they weren't there. Very, very nice. And there's also a unit of Spearmen there that could potentially trap Ikit if he doesn't maneuver correctly. And if he is going to run into the spears, I'll just barely turn around in time. So Wolf Rats being hastily summoned to try to save Ikit. It looks like the Dragon, nope, he didn't take Ikit as a target. He's supporting his infantry around point number 2, trying to defend it. Point number 3, as mentioned earlier, has been flipped. So Skaven control only 1 point, and Solisora is slowly but surely turning this battle around. And point number 1 should be flipped soon as well. So now it will be all 3 points in control of High Elves, turning this battle around quite literally by 180 degrees. Fireborn have finally been routed, but boy, did they do their job. And then another one. And yeah, I don't think they have been resummoned. That is on 1 life. That is very, very impressive. Let's see the Archmage, also very respectable 18,000, 18,800. Now almost 2,000 value after that breath, so quite a good breath into the Wolf Rats and Rat Augurs. That is quite a big blob of the 4 or 5 units that are now pushing into point number 2. So Skaven might re-establish control, and they're still 300 points ahead, so it's not yet lost for Skaven. Looking at the values here, they're very, very close, but let's remember that there's an Archmage of Life with AoE map-wide healing, plus Regrowth and Nerveblood that has been cast a few times. But point number 2 is being flipped, and so is point number 3. Fireborn somehow returned. They're fighting a chieftain in a somewhat equal fight as well. Their morale is really, really high, and chieftain is routed, but the Night Runners and Clanrad Spears should be able to deal with the 3 remaining Dragon Princes. As point number 3 has been captured, so was point number 2. No, not yet. There we go. So now, Falling Star has once again regained control of the battlefield, but point number 2 won't stand for long. The Clanrad Spears are outside of it. There's cavalry in here and some rangers. The rangers aren't very good against Rat Augurs, and the cavalry isn't either. But Spearmen are. So there we go, point 2 back under High Elven control. Point number 1 is being flipped, but it's not going to be finished. The capture is not going to be finished, as the Wolf Rats are going to complete a sandwich onto the Rangers, very quickly obliterating them together with Wicked Claw. But now that the Dragon is involved, Wicked Claw needs to run away and be careful. Seems like he has healed a bit. I don't know if he has a healing ability, I'm not gonna check that now. But well, maybe he wasn't that low health. Anyway, firing off and hitting the Dragon. Now the cavalry is in pursuit. Point number 1 hasn't been flipped, and now it's going to be secured back by High Elves, resetting the progress that the Skaven had. Point number 3 is once again being fought over, and there's only Night Runners in here defending it with no ammunition. Wait, the Fireborn is still alive? What? Absolute giga chance. And they're still not routing. They have 98 HP and still 21 morale. Well, point number 3. Ooh, Plague Claw Catapult summoned. That is quite a spicy summon. Quite late into the battle. Well, in terms of points, we're just above halfway through there. But there's not much in between. Just a single unit of cavalry can be easily sent over here. Or even the Archmage could be. And that is some friendly fire from the catapults. Should have probably targeted the ranges over here. Or literally anything else. Something that your units aren't charging or aren't engaged with. So plenty of good targets, and you are firing on your own units. Yikes. I mean, this is truly Skaven. But then again, that's not how you win a tournament. Night Runners summoned once again. Their value? Questionable. But High Elven forces are mostly routed in this area. Just a unit of Blade Guard, which isn't enough. Point number 1, for now, will be under control of the Skaven, although this Night Runners should be easily removable. Rat Augurs coming in though. They should help. is a regular Angel Dragon Princess. They are strong enough that they should be able to deal with Trafalgars, or at least deal with some damage to them. Ikit Claw is somehow just not taking damage, even despite being chased around by a dragon. The Fireborn did a much better job, and now the Dragon Princes are finishing what their older brothers started, and just absolutely obliterating Ikit Claw. Dragon is just pushing Doomwheel around,
Unending glory is
but the
yours.
Dragon Princes are able to land hits, and Falling Star admits defeat, and Solisora came in, line up at the very last second. First tournament in SUNTZU League and first victory. Very impressive. Definitely these guys, very impressive. These guys, lots of kills, but not the same gold value, just a bunch of Skaven slaves and maybe Night Runners. Also very decent score on the Dragon. Ikitlo, also very respectable, but the rest not so much. Overall, a very good back and forth battle, war with a final, and hopefully you like my commentary. The previous battle was also very well cast, if I may say so myself, and you just need to trust me because you didn't hear it. So yeah, for now, thank you all for watching. This has been our first single faction tournament. The next one is coming. It will be either, the date is not decided yet, but it will be soon. It will be either on 12th or 19th of October, and it will be Conquest this time around. And then in November we'll have season finals. Then a break in December because Christmas. People are way too busy with all their stuff. No time to play Warhammer. And then we'll be back in January with season 4. So those are the plans for the nearest future. And we'll see you there.